So I'm going to show you one of my kind of mantras that I teach all my students is sink, press, rise. So this is one of the things I used to shout out a lot to my guys, you know, when we first started teaching my guys this system. When you get into a clinch position, you make bridge contact, right? So you have your hands up for a minute. If you get into a bridge contact position, whichever way it is, if you're crossing your bridge or you're in a clinch position, you've got connection to the body, the person's body weight and body balance, right? So that's part of what we use in our structure. And that's part of Wing Chun. Wing Chun wants to bridge. There's no point to make a bridge and then just try to attack, because he can counter and attack as well. That to take control of the bridge means I get bridge contact, and I need to disrupt his center. I need to take control of him, right? So once we clash, if we clash in and we're both stiff, we're both going to push each other back, or one person will overwhelm, or one person will fire techniques. But it's all a bit hit and miss, right? So there's not really a structural progression to that. So when we clash, as soon as we clash, I want to feel his center of gravity, feel his balance, right? To uproot him, I want to sink, press, and then rise. So there's a format of sinking my weight, okay? By sinking my weight and pressing, I'm vectoring myself forward, so I'm getting a leaning vector. But the leaning vector is not leaning to fall over, because I'm going to press that and I'm going to rise. Okay, so I'm using the weight of that vector, the weight of that falling vector, to push off the ground and rise, to get a bow in the body, right? Okay, so that's our sink, press, rise. So whenever we clash in and you get control, that sink, press, rise is what's giving me my power to uproot somebody. And at the same point, when we talk about linking, delinking the pressure, that's part of linking your joints and loading your weight. And also when I push, if at the moment when I rise and he pushes back towards me, I can delink him and take his balance, and then I can strike, put him into a striking position. In Chi-Sao, when we're rolling and I strike, I'm striking to push him up, to get him off balance, to take him off his weight. Okay? Or I'm pulling him off balance to take his weight. So I want to go onto his toes, onto his heels, and I'm rocking. So some people say to me, oh, Wing Chun should be on the heels, or it should be, you know, different parts of the feet. You know, at the end of the day, it has to move, it has to be dynamic. Now when you go forward, if you're going forward, it has to go through the whole foot. So power generates from the heels to the balls of the feet, to kidney 1, and it rises through the feet. If you're on your heels already, like if you're on your heels, and I push you, you're going to rock back, right? It's going to be very hard to control that pressure, right? So when you're rolling here, I want to bring him onto his toes. I want to push him onto his heels, and now I'm going to strike, okay? Because once I get him onto his heels, it's very hard for him to gain control of that balance, right? Because I've taken control of his weight, okay? And I can crash in on him, right? So it doesn't matter if people say, oh, you're using body weight, of course. If you're using power, of course. If you're using muscle, of course. We're using all these things. Right? But we're also using timing, speed, finesse, relaxation. There's loads of things we're using. We're using everything, right? We use everything to overcome your opponent. I always get people saying, oh, your guy wasn't too big, wasn't big enough, wasn't small enough, wasn't wide enough, well, you're heavier, you're stronger. It's irrelevant, right? It's totally irrelevant. The idea of what we're doing is to use our body power to sink, press, rise, to disrupt his balance. Once you disrupt the balance, it's another game. You still need to have the skills to deal with that. If I just charge in and push him, he's going to just offset me and strike me, right? There's no point to that, right? So I need to be able to control the balance, control the movement, and then find my gap and hit. See, take balance, take the position, right? So your Chi-Sao has to be very dynamic. If we're just standing here and I'm just doing this and firing shots, he's going to block every one. Everybody says, oh, how come your guys never block? They're not going to block, because I'm not going to let them block. I'm going to take their balance so there is no block. There's nothing to do, right? If I let him block, then it's just going to go back and forth. I'm not really doing Chi-Sao. And if you run a race with somebody, one person's going to cross first. So my guys have a very high level of skill. Some of the guys that people have criticised in some of the videos I've done are top fighters. So, you know, they're criticising people who can really fight. So it's kind of funny when you hear that. So if we're going to run a race, one person has to cross the line. So if I had the hit first, or if I had the hit first, then obviously it looks like I'm trying to dominate the position. But that's what Wing Chun is. Wing Chun is a clash, explosion, and you finish something. So in Chi-Sao, we roll, and we find techniques, and we roll back and forth, and we do different things, different structures, but ultimately, when you roll, if you're rolling to develop your self-defense skills, when you hit, it should be finished. Fight's finished, because when someone swings at you, yeah, boom, 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 it should be finished. The fight is going to be finished in a couple of seconds. That's what your Chi-Sao is developing. But when we roll and train, obviously, we want to continue to progress with what we're doing all the time. So we repeat things over and over. But in reality, it's going to be very quick.